Hi guys, welcome to my channel Vinyl Beauty, or welcome back. I'm Debbie if you don't know me, and in today's video we're going to be playing with the PAT MCGRATH Bridgerton palette. Yes, I bought it. So if you've seen any of my previous videos, you might have heard me say that I was tempted by this palette, I was trying to resist, decided to get it. So this is going to be my palette for January. I'm really trying to stick to just buying 10 palettes in 2022, so I've bought one in January, or I've got one on the way that will be here in February, so we're kind of still on track. I'm excited to play with this one though. I love the quality of PAT MCGRATH normally, so without further ado, let's get into it and create a look with the Bridgerton palette. Okay guys, so I'm sure you all know this palette because it's been all over YouTube. So many people have reviewed it. This is not going to be a review, I'm just going to be doing a look with it really, but I'll just quickly show you how stunning it is because that packaging, oh, it's just gorgeous. That's what got me really tempted to buy it, is the way it's packaged. I just think it's stunning. That's the shades, of course. It's got one of those special shades in. I love those. You don't normally get those in these 6 pans. I don't own any of the 6 pans actually, but I have all of these colours because I have so many PAT MCGRATH palettes. I've got all the motherships apart from the Utopian Dream palette. So I've got the Divine Rose palettes for the pinks. I'm sure I've got a sparkly blue in one of the palettes. I think the Subliminal, was it? The first mothership's got a very similar blue, so I absolutely didn't need this, but it was just a want rather than a need, and sometimes we have to give in to that. So yeah, I'm going to create a look with this today. So I'm going to prime with the Sigma eyeshadow base in Persuade. It's kind of a pinky eyeshadow base, but it'll work okay for this because it's a pinky eyeshadow palette. So I don't watch the show, and it's not really my kind of show to watch. I don't really watch these historical kind of programs really. Like, I've never watched Downton Abbey. I can't think of any other ones because I don't really pay them much attention really. So when I saw it come on, it didn't tempt me to watch it or anything. I like murder investigations, police procedurals, mystery kind of programs, yeah, that kind of a thing. So I have been watching lots of TV though, because work's been the worst this week. It's been so exhausting. I haven't wanted to go on social media or film for my channel in the week, which I don't do really anyway, but I've been watching lots of TV in the evenings. But yeah, the sort of things I've been watching are more the sort of things that I like. So I've been watching Dublin Murders. If you have the iPlayer, so if you're in the UK, BBC iPlayer, totally recommend it. I won't tell you anything about it, just watch it. It's 2 stories intertwined and it's so clever. So there's 8 parts to that, so I watched that this week. And I've been watching Servant as well, or The Servant I think it is, on Apple. And Apple Plus is brilliant. I think it's such a bargain actually. They've got some really good stuff coming, but it's produced by M. Night Shyamalan, who did The Sixth Sense, and yeah, it's good. It's really good. So I've been watching that, and there's a new one called Suspicion as well. It's only had 2 parts released, so I watched both of those last night. So they're the kind of things I like, so not historical things like this, but I love a romantic colour story, and that's what this is. So we're going to try and get some drama out of this palette because I think it's quite wishy-washy. There's not really enough depth for me. This shade though does look quite deep. What's that one called? Plum Regalia. That's the one that excites me the most, other than the shiny sparkly shade. So I think we're going to start with that. I'm probably going to do something halo-ish today. I've not done one of those for a little while. I love the sort of plummy toned mattes. Any brand does. There's a plummy tone like this in the Nightmare Before Christmas palette by Colourpop's. Very, very similar kind of shade, and I love that one as well. So, but yeah, it's not the deepest. I like to really get some depth in my eye looks, but we will build it up as much as we can and pack it so that we're not blending all the shade away. I haven't got any blush or highlight on. We'll do that at the end. I meant to do that before I did the eye look and totally forgot, so we'll do that together. I'm going to use a PAT MCGRATH blush and highlight for that. I didn't buy the highlighter and blush palette because I really didn't need it. I'd got the highlight on one of the shades that's in the palette already, so didn't feel the need to get that just because of the packaging. I just thought it'd be nice to have one of the pieces from this. And if you've I've been watching my series talking about why we buy eyeshadow palettes. I think it's definitely packaging gets me. And brand loyalty as well. I'm like very brand loyal to Pat McGrath because I've never had a bad experience with the quality or even the service. Like a lot of people say that they take a long time to come, well they certainly haven't done for me. I ordered this in the restock, so I know people were a bit fed up with how long it took to get it if you ordered it when it first came out. I missed it then, and I think the hype had died down a bit for the restock, so it was fine. It came in 4 days from the US to the UK, and I was trying to figure out what palette to buy for my palette for January, and it was between this one and the Blend Bunny Dollhouse, but it just costs so much to get Blend Bunny palettes to the UK. Like the cheapest shipping option is $25, and like the couriered shipping is getting on for $50. I mean, the palette's only like $40. So I'm a fool buying shadow, but not that stupid, you know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. And I know that the brand is a small brand, they can't absorb the cost, but that's what makes Pat McGrath such a good deal in the UK. I'm just going to take a small fluffy pencil brush, and I'm going to take that shade close to the lower lash line at the inner and outer as well. Yeah, so I used the Bridgerton 10 code, got you 10% off, so the palette cost me £45, but that's courier delivered and no customs. They guarantee no customs or additional charges, so it's way cheaper for me to get Pat McGrath to the UK than it is a lot of these indie brands that are coming from the US to the UK, and that definitely influences my decision. I think if I was in the US I would buy way more American indie brands. So yeah, so I've got this one. I'm just going to take that Plum Regalia and the inner part as well, and I'm going to go fairly high with that. But I'm going to use this brush just to kind of control things so it doesn't run away with itself, because that's what can happen with these kind of looks for me. The tone of this is gorgeous though. I love this kind of shade, this plummy kind of, I don't know, yeah, it's not really plum to me, plummy greysy kind of shade. The other palette I bought, of course, because I'm obsessed with the brand, one of my favourite brands is the Nomad Whistler Snow Lodge palette. That won't arrive for a little while. They ship really quickly, but they take ages to come. So I'm going to be calling that one my palette for February, which means I won't buy anything in February and probably not anything in March unless anything really grabs my attention. And to be honest, there's not been too much that's grabbed my attention, so it's been quite easy to resist so far. There's some really nice Valentine's releases. There's one by September Rose that I really like the look of. I think it's called the Still Pretty palette or something like that. I'm not quite sure, I'm just trying to remember. And the one by Doodles, the Bunny and Gourmand Girls, that looks gorgeous. If I wasn't on a low buy, I'd have bought that for sure, I think, but it's got pinks and reds in it. I've got those in abundance, so I decided that I don't need it. And again, as I say, it's US indie brand, it would cost me a fortune to get it here. Decided just to be sensible. That's what I'm trying to do this year. Right, I want to work on blending around these edges. There is no blending shade to blend this shade out in the palette, so I'm just going to fluff around the edges with a brush with no additional product. Ideally, to help me blend this, I'd want a lighter blending shade, which I could obviously bring something else in if I wasn't just playing with this palette, but I'll try and do it without. Just to look a little bit more harsh because it's hard for me to blend without a blending shade. It doesn't look too bad on this side. This side we've got a harsh line. I wonder if I just bring in a little bit more of the colour just to help. Yeah, that's helped. Oh, blending's so boring. I hate blending. I like colour combinations and figuring out what looks to do and seeing how they come together, but blending is pretty dull and boring. It takes ages if you want to create a proper blended look, and I'm just not that bothered to do it. I'm sure people must be cutting out so much of what they do because you just couldn't get a look blended quickly. Or I can't. They must have some other skill that I don't possess. I'm quite glad I didn't put my highlighter on yet because I can cover over this fallout with it. That's my top tip for you. Right, absolutely need to use this sparkly blue shade. It is only a topper though, so I think we're going to go with the darker shade first. Don't think I'm going to bother using the other one. I'll use this darker one. I'm going to put this in the centre, but then pack this over it. I think that's probably going to work best. And might use that for the inner corner, not sure. So I'm going to go in with NYX Glitter Primer. Not sure if it's absolutely necessary with these sort of shadows, but yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to use Linda Hallberg 303, something a bit more fluffy because we're not looking for a cut crease or anything here. I'm running out of NYX Glitter Primer. I'm going to need to buy that. I can't be without that. I think this one's lasted me a year or so though, so it's doing well. So we're going to go with this shade, which is called Love Match. I don't want to ruin the bees or butterflies or whatever they are. I'm not quite sure what the print inside it is, the embossing, but it's so beautiful. Right, so we're just taking that shade each side of where we've packed Plum Regalia, nothing complicated at all. I'm also going to use that shade on my lower lash line on this side. And I'm keeping a bit of space in the centre. I never do this, but I thought I would echo the centre of my eyelid with the centre of my lower lash line and have a bit of sparkle there, which I don't, as I say, do very often. Okay, so with the centre of my eyelids, then we're going with this one, Duchess Divinity. I'm going to pack that all through the centre as a base for that blue shade. And I'm taking it up into my crease as well because I like my halo eyes to look big, like I've got a bit more eye space than I do. And as I say, I don't think you'll see very much of this shade, but it'll just give a base for that glittery shade to sit on really. That's quite pretty. And you could absolutely leave it like that and not bother with the blue shade, but we've got to try the blue shade, haven't we? So that shade has gone right up into my brow area. I'm just going to blend a little bit there, just to kind of diffuse it out a little bit. I don't mind having a sparkly shade like this on my brow bone though. So now then for Regency Blue, this one. And as I say, I'm just going to pack that everywhere. I've put that shade in the centre. But I'm probably going to keep this more so to my lid space and not so much going up into my crease. Oh, that's a magical shade though, so pretty. So twinkly. So for my lower lash line, just going to repeat the steps I've done. So putting the base shade on first, and then packing it with the blue. Just keeping that to the centre of my lower lash line. And then packing the blue over the top. It's quite subtle actually, that blue. I'll give you someone like me that's not a blue fan. It's bluish, but it's not that blue. For my inner corner, I'm going to go in with Iconic Ingenue. How do you say that? So I'm just packing that just as a little bit of interest there in that inner corner. I like that shade, so I'm going to use that as a brow bone highlight as well. So I'm just going to pick out the very tippy top area under my brow there. Okay, I will finish my eyes off camera, but I'm going to do my blush and highlight with you now. So I'm going to use a PAT MCGRATH Labs blush. This one is Lovestruck. I think it'll go perfect with the look. It's a very pigmented raspberry pink, so we're going to go quite slowly to start with. I think it'll really pick out the tones in the eye look. Might just do a bit of draping around the eyes as well. Yeah, I think that looks nice just to drape it around the eye look. For highlight, we're going to do something a little bit crazy. We're going to use that Regency Blue shade from the palette. Because it's sheer, it reminds me a little bit of the Kaleidos highlights, and I think it's going to work okay. If you don't mind sparkle on your cheeks, which I don't mind. I think that's pretty. I like it better on my cheeks than on my eyes actually. Super pretty. Love that. Okay, so that's everything to this point. Just going to hop off camera for something in my waterline, mascara. Don't think I'm going to do a wing today, so just waterline, mascara and a lip, and I'll be back with you with the finished look. Okay guys, so this is the finished look, and to finish it off what I did is use a NYX liner in Azure, and I put it in my waterline and then just slightly in the centre of my upper lid there, just to bring out the blue in that blue sparkly shade, because it's not like in your face blue, and I just felt it just needed a little bit of help to show up blue, and I think it's made my eyes pop more by doing that. For lips today, I've gone in with a really old lipstick. It's by Lancôme. It's one of their Rouge in Love lipsticks. Probably had this 10 years, gotta be. But it's in the shade 377N, because they don't have names, they just have numbers. But such a pretty lipstick, and it's not often you see me wear a raspberry pink like this. So yeah, I think it turned out really, really pretty. I love that blue shade, the Regency Blue, as a highlight. I think it's stunning as a highlight. If you don't have any of the Kaleidos highlights and you want that really sparkly sheen on your cheeks, then yeah, this works for that. So my thoughts on the palette, I think it's pretty much of a one-trick pony. I think whatever you do, you're going to get a very similar look out of it, if I'm honest. I mean, you could avoid using Prima Regalia, but then that's the only matte that you've got, so that's going to set the tone for the look, of course. You could just use that and then the iconic Ingenue shade and just go for something a little bit more neutral. You could use that one and then that packed over the lid like I did, and avoid these two. These two are way too similar. We didn't need these two to be the same, and a lot of people have said the same thing. They're both a satin formula. They're not very popping. I do like satins, but I don't know, I wasn't amazingly impressed with those. That shade is beautiful, but it's very, very sheer. It's more sheer than the normal sparkle formula, you know, the special shades from Pat McGrath, in my opinion. But I don't hate the palette at all. I had quite a lot of fun with it. I think it's one of these you could pick up and you just know what you're going to get out of it. Like, it'd be quite simple to make a really pretty look to go out in. That's a romantic look. Perfect for Valentine's, I think, this one. So if you've got this, you know, dig it out to do a Valentine's look. And I think that Lovestruck blush just really complements it as well if you have that one. So yeah, I'm happy I've got it. As I say, I just don't think it's not something you can create with, you know. It's not one that I'm going to be inspired to like do lots of different looks with, because it's very limited what you can do with it. But what it does really well. That's kind of my thoughts on it. But I hope you enjoyed seeing the look come together and seeing me do another halo eye. I don't do them too often. I'm getting a little bit better at them, I think. But at least I didn't let the inner corner kind of carry itself away with me, which is normally what happens. So yeah, I think I'm improving, which is always good. But if you're new to my channel and you've enjoyed the video, I hope you might consider subscribing on your way out. But just everybody, thank you so much for watching. Hope you're having a lovely day or night wherever you are, and catch you in the next video. Bye guys.